Hi guys, today I am doing for you a full face of first impressions. So I've been to Boots, as I think you can see, and I've bought a lot, enough here to be able to do everything for the first time. So it could go badly. I'm just going to literally put it on my face and I will give you my first impressions. So some of these things aren't even open, so it could be a bit interesting for you. I'm going to start with, as always, a primer. Now this is the Revlon PhotoReady Prime and Anti-Shine. And when I tried the tester in store, it felt very similar in consistency to the NARS Pro Prime one that I always use, the one that's in the little square tub that is now in like a twister and for filling in my pores. Now it might not be, oh okay, it comes with a little spongy thing which I'm not going to use. I'm just going to rub my finger on it. It's got a real, it feels very much like a sort of Vaseline type product. I imagine it'd be quite silicone-y. So I'm just going to push that. Okay, it seems to do quite a good job at sort of filling in the pores. I don't know how makeup will sit on top of it. I find with certain primers they can roll quite a bit on the skin and make the product sort of roll on top of it, so we'll see how we get on. If you can see all my spots from there, I am sorry. I've been on holiday for a week, drank a lot, and it's taken its toll on my skin a little bit. So I'm just using in between the nose where I have some quite obvious pores and round the nose. I'm going to do a little bit on my chin. Okay. It is causing my moisturiser to roll a little bit. In fact, let me clip my hair up out of the way because it's going to drive me mad. Okay. Okay, we'll see how makeup sits on top. First impressions are that it has actually filled the pores in quite well. It has taken away the shine, although that isn't something I normally suffer with. So let's see how something sits on top. Let me tip all of this out so I can see what I've got and actually remember what I've got. So I don't think I bought a primer that's for glow or hydration. I did buy the new Sculpt Bronze Sun-Kissed Highlighter. Now this looks like an absolute dupe for the Marc Jacobs Coconut Dewdrop Dew You highlighter. I wouldn't use this as a sculpt. If you try and contour with this, which it's implying with the word sculpt, you'll look crazy. It's really like golden and highlightery. But I'm just going to put the tiniest little bit underneath foundation all over because I haven't bought a glow giving primer, and my skin, again probably because of holiday, is just feeling a little bit lifeless, so that will just give it that little bit of glow underneath the foundation. Now I actually bought two foundations. I bought the Revlon PhotoReady Instafix Stick Foundation in the colour 120. I thought I bought 130, that's annoying. And then I bought the Maxfactor Miracle Touch Liquid Illusion Foundation in Blushing Beige. Oh no, again, 55, that sounds dark. I may have picked up the wrong colour. So this says Miracle Touch Liquid Illusion Foundation. So as you see, I've just twisted it open and it's really unusual. It's in like a pot. You get on the top a little sponge. Again, I just really don't want to use that. So I'm going to go in with a beauty blender. I'm going to try this one out. Let's see how the colour looks on the skin. So I'm just going to literally rub the beauty blender in the pot. I'm not sure if that's how... Okay, no, that colour is right. I'm just going to work that in. Now, the first thing I would say is this has got a good level of coverage. That one dab in the pot has done the whole of the lower part of my face. I'll only have to go in just for the forehead. Well, that was very quick and easy to use. That seems like quite a good match as well for me. I mean, I'm using the world's tiniest mirror. I don't know why I do this. I'm going to take a little bit on my eyelids. bit of a primer. Yeah, I quite like that. It's sitting nicely. That primer has done a really good job. That is not sitting in my pores at all. So I'm just going to go back in one more dab, only just a little one because it did feel quite thick for the forehead. It is a little bit lighter than my face colour at the moment, just because I've got quite a few more sort of freckles from my holiday. So it's probably taken a little bit of the colour out of my skin, but it does mean that in normal life it'll be a much better fit, because I haven't really caught a lot of the sun. It was so hot I couldn't sit out in it at all. I feel like I probably sat out for a couple of hours a day in total. Right, well, I like that. I really do. Obviously I'll have to see how it wears. It's really hard to tell from just putting it on, but normally if I hate a foundation I can tell from the way it even sits on my skin, and that seems to be sitting quite nicely. So I'm going to go in now with concealer, because as I just mentioned, I've got quite a lot of spots at the moment because of all the holidaying. Can I open it without... No, this is annoying. This is the one problem with a legit first impressions. I haven't even opened these products. I always find things like this so hard to get into. Oh dear. I like when they put the plastic covering on, because unfortunately in places like Boots, some tramps decide that it's okay to just use the actual product rather than the tester. I don't know why you would do that. It's basically theft, because you're ruining a product you haven't tried, but people do. So this is the Revlon ColorStay Concealer Anti-Crease in number 1. So it's probably going to be too light for my face, but let's take it under the eyes. I've got one on the end of my nose, beautiful, and one there. So I suppose it's not too many spots really. I need to calm down a little bit on whinging about them, but let's see what I think. Well, that blended in very easily. I'm not sure if it's actually given much coverage though. Hard to tell, but it blended in really nice. In fact, I'm not going to use my beauty blender for my spots because it takes too much of the product off. So I'm just going to really gently dab around the edge of the spot and try and keep as much coverage. Yeah, it's not great coverage. Let's go back in with a little bit more. I'll do a little bit around my nose as well, where I get a bit of redness. Really quite like the way that foundation's worked. I mean, it's really taken out any colour from my skin, so I will have to, you know, really go back in with bronzer and blusher, but it's sitting really nicely. Quite like that concealer too. It's really light, it's not creased under the eye. I'm just going to take, this is my Charlotte Tilbury. I didn't buy a new setting powder, so I'm just going to take a tiny bit under the eyes and down the centre of the nose. Not the centre, you know what I mean, either side of my nose. I'm going to put a bit over the spots as well to set where I've just put the concealer. Right, now I've bought a precision contouring pen from Collection. I went for number 1 light because it was a much ashier colour. Medium just suddenly went really quite orangey, and I'm just going to draw it under the cheeks and down the side of the nose. Now it's not the easiest to use down the nose, I probably would use a brush on that. So I'm just going to take my little concealer brush to blend that in. Then I'm going to use, this is just a Lottie London brush to blend that in. Okay, my initial impressions with this are it is not blending very nicely. You can really still see sort of the line of where it's been drawn rather than, you know, just a little bit of shadow. So I'm going to take, I know this sounds a bit crazy, but just a little bit more, a tiny bit below and a tiny bit above where I drew the initial line to try and blend that out. I think that's very subtle. I don't love it, I don't hate it. It was £2.99, so it certainly wasn't bad for that price. Right, I'm now going to take a bit of bronzer. I was trying to remember what I bought. This is Maxi Delight Bronzer from Bourjois in number 2, and it's a giant matte bronzer, if I can get into it. Honestly, they try and make these like impossible to get into, and they certainly like to ruin your nails in the meantime. Okay, so I've just got, again, another Lottie London brush. Let me try a little bit on the... Okay, that seems quite light, I say. Oh, no, that is warm. Wow, sorry guys, I did not realise that my camera had completely stopped filming. So I was mid-bronzer at the time, which I sort of summarised with, I don't mind it, it's got a really strong smell. It has got a little bit more shimmer than I realised, but it does look like it's just a dusting on the top, because definitely in store it was not shimmery. Don't love it, don't hate it. Then what I've done, and I can't now undo for you, but I've done my brows with the new L'Oreal Paradise Pomade. So it's got a beautiful pink top, which twists off to show a little brow pomade, which I've had in the colour Warm Blonde 102. And my consensus was it is a perfect colour match for my brows. Really went on really nicely. There is a little brush that comes with it at the top. I didn't use that, I used my normal favourite Zoeva winged liner brush, but I'm really impressed with that. And that's all I did, and then realised my camera had cut out. So I'm now going to go to the, I've got quite a lot from Revlon actually, Revlon ColorStay Cream Eyeshadow in the colour Praline, and it's just a really subtle, it looked like a sort of a bit of a champagne-y kind of colour, because I'm going to do quite a bold coral lip, and as I say, I am only going to, actually, as I say, I might have said it when the camera had cut out, but I'm going to my friends tonight for a takeaway, so I don't need sort of a full face of makeup on in terms of big smoky eye and what have you, because I know when I get in late, I can never ever be bothered to take it all off, which I will always do, but I don't want to. So that's the colour, really beautiful. I'm going to, oh, I've already put a bit of concealer on as a primer, so let's see how it lasts up with that. I never ever don't prime my eyes, so it's probably not really a fair test because I haven't put primer, but I have put a bit of concealer on. It is a very nice colour. It's creamy, so it goes on nice and light. Let me just blend the edges out. I suppose the only, I mean, it's not the best phrase to use, but it is what it is. You know, it's a lovely light coloured cream eyeshadow base, but it's a light coloured cream eyeshadow base. It's never going to give you the most amazing eyeshadow look in the world. It's not a colour that people are going to be like, oh wow, I love that, what colour's on your eyes, you know. It's a pale champagne coloured eyeshadow colour. What I'm probably going to do, because I know what happens with me, I end up looking like I've got no eyes whatsoever if I only put some... Oh, there is a little brush that comes with it that slides out. Again, I would never use this, but that comes in the top there. I'm just going to take a little bit of the bronzer that I used on the Real Techniques, the new brushes that I talked about, the powder blue range, and I'm just going to add a little bit of this to my crease. Wow, yeah, it's a very orangey bronzer. You can see straight away how orangey that is, but just to add a little bit of definition to my crease, otherwise I will look like I have no eyes. So I'm just blending that back and forwards just to add a nice subtle bit of depth there. Goes on quite nicely, the bronzer as a transition colour. I know you're not buying it as an eyeshadow, but there we go, that just gives a little bit more depth. And I'm going to take, have I got a smaller brush here with me? No, okay, I'm just going to take a tiny bit under the eye as well, and that's just off the bronzer. This is really a thicker brush than I would normally use, but it's only to add a tiny little bit of a bronze sort of smoke under the eye. Yeah, I really like that light colour. Let's see how it sets. Again, that's a hard one to say, but from first impressions, that feels a little bit smoother than the ones that I love from, is it Maxfactor or Maybelline? I think it's Maybelline Colour Tattoos, and I do really like them, but this felt much smoother. So now on to, I did buy 2 mascaras. I bought the L'Oreal Baby Roll, Miss Baby Roll, Mega Volume Waterproof, but I bought it because L'Oreal was on 3 for 2. And I'd bought the mascara and the brow pomade, and I really wanted to just get something free. So I'm very excited. I got it in black. And that is the brush. I don't know if you can see that. But let's see how we get on. I'm going to give them a curl first. My lashes are naturally so straight, short and downward. So I always have to curl them. Yeah, what I can see looking up close now, since applying the bronzer, you can really see where the foundation is sitting in my pores more. Whereas before I'd put the bronzer on, the primer had done a really good job of making sure that you couldn't see the pores, and I was really pleased with it. And now it looks quite cakey. So what I'm going to do in a minute is go back in with my beauty blender and really push the makeup into the skin, and that usually helps. Right, so I've given those a really good curl. Now I've just realised I made the mistake. I really wanted to buy the waterproof mascara. I'm almost certain I didn't. No. So what's going to happen is, it might look amazing to start with, and then the curl will drop, because mine are naturally so straight. Waterproof's the only thing to sort of hold a curl. Okay, I can see why people really like this mascara. It's gone on really easily, it's coated all the lashes, it's separated them. I look like I've got twice as many lashes as normal. The only issue is that I know the curl will drop. So I might see if they do this in a waterproof, and if they do, if it's as nice. But you can see there, well, the camera might not pick that up, but for me, those look amazing. I would normally have to wear false lashes to be able to sort of see my lashes that much. So I'm very impressed with that. I'll just put a little bit on my bottom lashes. So I've just waited a few minutes and it has started to drop a little bit. So what I'm going to do is just try a second layer as well, see how it layers up. They haven't totally dropped, which some mascaras make my lashes completely drop altogether. Well, it builds up nicely, it's not clumping. Still giving some really good separation. Not wanting to be a little sheep and join in with what everybody else says, but I really, really like this mascara. I almost expect when people love a mascara to try it and hate it, because they just never work for my lashes. And I've just got a little bit on my lid, so I'm just blending it in. I really like that. So I'll do the other lash off camera so that you don't need to watch me do the same thing, and then I'll be back. Right, that's both sets of lashes done. Really, really like that mascara. I know if I'd had an LVL lash lift, I would love that mascara. So anybody that has curly lashes, you're going to love that. Now what I'm just doing now is with my damp beauty blender, pushing like literally as hard as I can push on the pores to really try and help cover up the look of that bronzer sat on the pores. It's helped a bit on that side, it's not massively fixed that side. Right, so obviously quite a natural look. I didn't buy a new blusher, I don't know how I missed that, but I completely missed it. So I've just got here a little Lasting Finish soft colour blush in Pink Rose from Rimmel, which is fairly new, so I thought I'd just use that. It's a very, again, it says Pink Rose. I would not say that is particularly pink. I would say that's quite a nude, almost nudie peach colour really. Then I don't know, highlighter wise, I obviously must have thought at the time when I was looking through everything that highlighter from Bourjois would count, but I'm a bit concerned to try that on top of all this makeup. Let's do the one. If not, I've brought in my bronze goddess, so I'm going to put a tiny little bit on the back. It's seriously pigmented. Let's see. Wow. It's very pretty, but I would say that would look a lot nicer under makeup like I did, or on collarbones. It does look nice, it's just not obviously a light enough highlight for me because I'm so pale. So I'm just going to go over the top with the same Real Techniques brush. Oh, I've got my cotton wool in there from when I packed. I always put my cotton wool in to try and stop the powders smashing in your case. So I'm just going to take, oh there we go. I've just put a little bit of the Bronze Goddess highlighter over the top, which has really now clung to where I'd put that liquid highlight. And take that under the brow. And then I'm just going to put a little bit on a fan brush and just take it up in the C round here. Sorry if the light keeps changing, I've gone with natural light again today, and obviously the sun keeps going behind the clouds. Right. Lastly, let me just check, have I done everything? I think I have. So all I've got left now is to use number 210. Oh yeah, it's Unapologetic it's called. In this Revlon Matte Balm. How can I get into this? and it looks like I don't know how I'm actually going to get into this. There isn't one of those, you know, normally there's like a little serrated edge. There is not a serrated edge anywhere. No, is that the word I mean? No, like a perforated edge, sorry. I'll be right back. Well, I've got the lid off. There's still loads of plastic on it because I was that impatient. So yeah, sorry, this is the Revlon Matte Balm in Unapologetic number 210, which is a really bright pinky coral. So I love the colour. It's matte, but it feels comfortable. It's not like, you know, the liquid lips that set down. It's very comfortable. What I would say is, and I don't think it's necessarily the formula, but I've got a few other colour and a few other lipsticks in this kind of pinky coral, and I feel like they don't fully cover. Like I can still see some of my lip through. You know, they're not fully opaque. So what I do normally do is fill my lip in with a lip liner and then use them. But obviously I wanted to give this a shot first on its own to see what I think. I really like the colour. It's really summer, it's really fun. But yeah, I would definitely need a lip liner under it. You know, it is quite dry. You can see some of the cracks in my lips. But again, if I was using a matte product, I would normally have put a lip balm on right before I started doing any of my makeup, which I didn't do, because I wanted to give it a true test to see how it is on the lips. So yes, I would definitely use a lip balm first and make sure you give your lips a good scrub. I can see some of my dry skin. But really enjoy the colour, would just need a lip liner underneath. So all in all, I'm quite pleased actually. The only thing I haven't been massively keen on is the bronzer, but I do think it has got a sort of spray over the top that will come off, and that I might like it a little bit more. I also think when I'm with a bigger mirror, bronzer I find a lot easier to do when you can see the whole of your face, whereas I'm using a small mirror here, and I don't blend it as well with a small mirror, so I will give that more of a shot. So this brow pomade was a big thumbs up. The L'Oreal mascara was a big thumbs up, so a great release because they're both from the same Paradise range. And this Bourjois Sculpt was an amazing dupe for the Marc Jacobs Dew Drop things. So they're the three stand out. Everything else I'll report on in a blog post or, you know, on future videos. Please subscribe down below and give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time. Bye.